Maitreya Buddha took Asanga to his pure land, Tushita, and they say give teaching for one morning. One morning of Tushita, they said equivalent to the 50 years of human life, whatever. So one morning give teaching and giving those transcendental teachings. So then that Abhisamaya Alankara, which a couple of pages, maybe, not a couple, but maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 20, 30 pages, which is the now accessible thing where we can study all these paths. And all of those lamrims are, and not from the Gelugpa's point of view, from the Nyingma's point of view, the Kunye Lame Shelung, and all of those are coming from there. Sagyabas, Lamde is all coming from there. And Kajubas, Thakpo, Kambuman, all of those are coming from, almost every Tibetan Buddhist teachings are rooted in this, totally. And then different explanation, different versions, and all kind of things. But ultimately, the purpose is to obtain enlightenment, to establish the path to the enlightenment in orderly and organized manner, and ultimately individual will maintain that, obtain that, and that is the whole purpose of it. And so the root of all of those, the commentaries, not necessarily commentaries, but explanations, and even treatises that we study of early Indian Mahapanditas or the later Tibetans, all of them are really rooted to this. These are the 5 major subjects they are taught in the great monasteries such as Debu, Sara, Kanden, and many other who have these studies, and it is the real root of that. And what the Gelugpas call it 5 great subjects, or sometimes Nyingmapas call it 13 great subjects. Of anywhere, and sometimes there's 18 great subjects, whatever, they all will boil down to this. So that is the real root of all Lamrim, all everything. Now so far you have been looking through organized manner, through Lamrim. It's very easy to go. When you're beginning to do it, it's not easy. It's very difficult because it is something that way. But now you're getting touched a little more than that. You're sort of getting a little more, so your hand is a little more inside the pocket rather than sort of nicely looking from outside and getting into it. But I thought introduction of the Buddhism is, Mahayana Buddhism is, begin with those 10 instructions. And so out of those 10 instructions, and we have done the first one, Tubarangangola Dhamma. Tubarangangola Dhamma is the natural of the practice itself. And there we talked about true noble, true truth. And also we talk about there is no third truth. either relative or absolute. There is no third. We made it very clear. So the Buddhas have made the Buddhas with the plural purposely. It's not my English broken in the broken English, but because every Buddha, whoever may be, either the Shakyamuni Buddha or Maitreya Buddha, I'm not talking about only one generation. I'm talking about 1,000 different Buddhas, 1,000 different Buddhas. Each one of them will have nothing more to say than that of true truth, nothing separate than that of true truth, nothing more or less than true truth. So that is why Nagarjuna made it very clear. The enlightened ones, not listening to the others, taught by the true truth. And that is the truth of relative and the truth of absolute. No third truth ever existed. Ever existed and will ever not be. Then you may think, oh, there's a Fourth Noble Truth. The next is the Fourth Noble Truth. How did you get in the four without getting to third? So that is the different, right? That's a very different. This Fourth Noble Truth is the when Buddha first taught. So what did Buddha share? Buddha shared this Fourth Noble Truth, which you have heard a million times. Million times. You have also heard truth of suffering, truth of cause of suffering, truth of cessation, truth of path that lead to the true cessation. So you have heard that also million times. And you probably have some idea, a good knowledge. You say, oh, I know about the truth of suffering. There are 3 types of suffering, 8 types of suffering, 16 types of suffering, all that, hundreds of sufferings, and all of those we have some idea and something we are very familiar and very well experienced too. If we are not experienced on the suffering, who else? Honestly, each and every one of us has suffered tremendously throughout our lives, and particularly this life. More the older you become, more the experience you are. That is nothing but the experience of suffering. Suffering. Yet you know one thing, no matter how heavy, how persistent the sufferings may be, but we are equally intelligent, diligent, clever enough to handle it. And capable enough to handle it. Handling it means we don't submit to the suffering. We still challenge, no matter how weak, how difficult, how persistent it may be. We will challenge them. So, and this might not be the right place for me to talk, but the thing is this. Our life is such. It is full of suffering, full of pain, full of difficulties. Yet we'll get through with everything. We get through with everything. And the human capacity is so much, and there's many ways of handling, help, and all kinds of things. At the end of all, at the end of all, that's what I'm hesitating to say. But at the end of all, we all lose our battles, for sure, because impermanent is a question of when. It's not a question of if. You know what I mean? We all will go sooner or later down the road, hopefully way down the road. Every one of us will keep on thinking that. But we all will go, for sure. Even then we don't lose our battle. Because what happens is we're never going to be disappeared. We're never going to be annihilated. Only difficulty is we don't recognize each other. And we don't see each other. You don't recognize me, I don't recognize you. And you look like a stranger, but the character and the personality of the individual is such that you think, oh, you know the person for so many lifetimes, or something like that. So you get it. So it is never completely goes into annihilation. And impermanent takes over for sure. But impermanent doesn't take over forever either. So the thing is this, I guess what I'm saying is, no matter how much suffering it may be, but we will prevail. And normally what they say, truth will prevail. So we will prevail. So we all will become enlightened, for sure. So that's why it is worthwhile, even though you know at the end it is impermanent, will conclude so-called this life. Even then, individual person will continue. Thank you.